Hey, so I figured I will record a video or a couple videos just to kind of help with making these simulations because we've had a bunch of snow days and I know it's tough to kind of go back and forth. So I'm going to do both of these tasks, probably one form of search or sort per video, and you can follow along at your own pace, repeat what you need to repeat. But the first one I'm going to keep really simple and paste in our little generator to get a list. And then importantly, I'm on a different version because I'm not at school. So if anything looks different, that's why. So the key things to keep in mind is, at least where we're working here in CasualOS, everything is sort of based around an event that can happen, and then you can code a response, or you can create your own events. But there is a really important one for us called onClick, which happens to a bot anytime that the bot is clicked on. So it's a really good place for us to create interactions, show what's happening. And I'm going to copy this little snippet of code that I have, because this list generator is going to create a bunch of bots. And the way you should think of a bot is an object, or a dictionary is what we called it when we were working in Python. And it has all these properties, or the keys, that store values. And the values can be a color, it can be a location, it could be the label on it, or it could just be a piece of information that we wanted to add. So all of the bots in the list have a tag called list. That helps us find them. And the reason this is 2 lines instead of 1 is that when you do this get bots function, they won't necessarily be in any particular order that you might expect. So I'm just sorting them, and you don't need to worry too much about could I write this line of code, could I not? I'll always be able to help you with this kind of thing, like how do I get this list sorted? But the straightforward way it works is it's comparing 2 items in the list, and if there's a positive number, it puts them in the same order it finds them, and if there's a negative order, it switches the order of those items. So this is not a very self-explanatory line of code, but essentially we're comparing the home X tag of one bot to the home X tag of another bot so that we get them in order from left to right. So what can we do with this list of bots? One of the things that we've learned about that will continue to be important is this idea of a for loop. And now that we're working in JavaScript, you have to write those a little bit differently, but we, just like everything else in JavaScript pretty much, we put some amount of information in parentheses, and then we put the code we want to run in curly brackets. So there are a couple ways we can create a for loop. If we're just ignoring our list of bots and just trying to make something happen really quickly, for loops need a little bit of information, like what's our starting point, how do I know when I should be done, what should change after each time we go through the loop. So if I just let I equal 0, I is going to be the variable I use to iterate through the loop. That's step 1. I need a starting point. There it is. And I need to know when to stop. So I'm just going to say this should happen while I is less than 10. And then the final piece of information is how should I change every time the loop runs. So you could do, I don't actually normally do it this way, I equals I plus 1, meaning every time it goes through the loop, I should then be set equal to I plus 1. And I can change, just for now, tags.label for this bot. I'll give it a label and make it equal to I, so we can hopefully see how I is changing. If I do that, it just immediately goes to 9, because the for loop doesn't wait. We can make it wait so it doesn't just happen immediately all 10 times through by saying await. And remember, in JavaScript, anytime you actually want it to pause and wait for something to complete, make sure you do await, and then we have this little function that's part of the OS package of functions called sleep. And we give it a time in milliseconds. So I'm just going to say 250 milliseconds or quarter of a second. So now every quarter second, it'll count up. So that's cool that we can do multiple things, but that's not really relevant to this list of bots. It's not really relevant to the, I mean, it's relevant, but it's not what we need if we're going to demonstrate what a linear search is, which means looking through a list and looking for a particular number. So instead of just counting a number, we can create a variable called, I'm just going to call it B for bot, and say for every bot of the list that we have, we could do something to that bot. So maybe b.tags. Instead of changing the color, or instead of changing the label, I will change the color and I'll set it to red, just so there's a clear and obvious difference. If I do that, then it's going to go through the list one by one and do something to it. So if we want to demonstrate what a linear search is, we just need to go through the list of bots. If there's a particular number, highlight it, say, yay, we found it, and be done. So if I make a list here, we've got, I'm going to aim for 61 right there. We just need to check if something about the bot is true, and then we'll celebrate if we found it. So obviously, this isn't checking anything. A single equal sign will always set something equal to that. So this would be a check, a double equal sign. But we're not checking if the color is red. We should check if the label is 61. And I'm not putting 61 in quotes because numbers are numbers. The computer doesn't need to be told not to interpret that. But I did have to put red in quotes because it might otherwise try and look up what red means. So if we find a label of 61, then I want to say make that bot's tags.color equal to green. You could do a bunch of stuff here. You could make it animate, you could make it move, you could throw confetti around, but I'll just highlight it in green to keep it simple. And if we haven't found the bot, if we're looking at a bot and it's not the one that we want, I might just say tags.color equals red to show we looked, and that's not it. So we're really, really close to actually being done here. We're going to look through, highlight. If it's the number we're looking for, it turns green. But really, we should probably stop once we find what we're looking for. And we can do that by using this little keyword that we've learned about before, return. Just get out of here. Go back to whatever else was happening. We're done. I don't want to be executing this function anymore. So I'm just going to generate until I see a 61 again, which this is not the best way to do this because obviously I have to be clicking. But if we wanted to change the number every time we do the search, we would have to make some other sort of interaction to select that number. And we don't need to do that right now. So I'll click this, see red, 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 red. We're looking through the list and we found the green one. So that's the first simulation that we would do. Hopefully this feels pretty simple to be able to get a list of bots. For each of the bots, check the label, and if it's what we're looking for, turn it green. If not, turn it red. Because the next one will be more complicated, because we're trying to search more efficiently than just looking one by one. So hope this helped. I'll see you in the next one.